Hi everybody, it's Dandruff with your news cartridge for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. Welcome to Tuesday, and I am happy to announce the winner of this week's game code giveaway, God of Knockers, for your comment here. Be sure to check your messages on YouTube for your code for Borderlands 2 and some DLCs for it. Today we start with Game Dev Tycoon, coming to iOS and Android on November 28th, which will change the game's UI to allow for mobile platforms, and at the same time it will get an update on Steam. And then we have Firaxis adding some more DLC to Civ 6 soon that will bring back Indonesia, along with a new naval unit that can not only transport, but attack other ships. No release date on this one just yet. Shadow of War's first piece of DLC called Endless Shadow Wars has been announced, and it too has no exact release date either. And then the Destiny 2 preload starts tomorrow for the PC version, which releases 1 week from today on October 24th. Moving on to some Nintendo news, starting with an update to their eShop, which now showcases games on sale by giving them their own category. And if you're browsing that market, then you may have noticed something a bit out of place, because Sony is releasing indie titles onto the Switch under the label Unties. The first game will be Tiny Metal, which looks a lot like a 3D version of Advance Wars and will release on November 21st. Two other games planned are a 3D action game called Last Standard and then a mech game called Merkava Avalanche. How do you feel about Sony releasing games onto a Nintendo platform? Let me know in the comment section down below. In the trend of re-releasing old games onto a smaller form factor, available soon will be arcade-style cabinets with classic Atari games loaded onto them. The first will feature Centipede. This too does not have a release date and in fact are still in their concept stages of development, with a Kickstarter having begun and has already reached nearly half of its $50,000 goal if you wanted to secure one for yourself at a lower price. Then we have a rumor that Crash Bandicoot Remastered is coming to Nintendo Switch because Keymailer, a site that offers game keys for independent creators to make content with, has listed the game available for the platform. Since this has happened, they have taken the option down and issued a statement saying it was a simple mistake. Part of me wants to believe it was a Freudian slip and Bandicoot is coming to other platforms, but obviously none of that is confirmed just yet. But let me know if you think it's coming to the Nintendo Switch in the comment section down below. In other news, Gran Turismo Sport just released, and you would think of it as being an offline game, but there is a surprising amount of in-game features that are tied to having an internet connection. And this isn't things like the multiplayer, it's basic things like checking out purchasable cars, looking at the cars you've unlocked, and even the home menu, so you aren't allowed to change cars. This is absolutely going to cause problems for people who lose internet, or for people who just don't have a great connection. Stay tuned to News Cartridge to see if changes come to Gran Turismo Sport. Speaking of things that need improvement, the recent update to Minecraft called Better Together is not much better and is barely being held together. The goal of the update was to have a single unified version of Minecraft that all platforms, console, PC, and mobile would all be able to play together seamlessly. But the layout of the UI, which was either designed for touchscreen or keyboard and mouse, is not going over well with gamers using a controller on console. Microsoft is working on a solution in order to please as many people as possible, but have not released a public statement about this just yet. From there we go into a story that scares the living shit out of me, because Activision had filed a patent back in 2015 for a system that ties matchmaking to microtransactions. The way this would work is by placing high-ranking players versus lower-ranking opponents, and those people would feel as though they have to purchase extras in order to compete. Activision has made a statement saying that they have not implemented the system in any game, so at least they didn't deny that it doesn't exist. This scares the ever-living shit out of me, and if they do ever implement it, I am never buying one of their games again. And that brings us to our final topic today, which is the one and only EA Games. Electronic Arts. We are going to start this off easy, as one of their games is leaving the vault, which is the library of games EA and Origin Access members can play. FIFA 14 is the game, and while I don't think it's that big of a detriment because both FIFA 15 and FIFA 16 are playable, I would hope that only games with yearly releases like that are the only ones removed. But even then, I don't think that's a good reason, because those games are still playable regardless of when they released. And then we have another decision by EA today, and that is to shut down Visceral Games, the makers of Dead Space and Battlefield Hardline. Visceral started in 1998 under the name EA Redwood Shores because they were located in Redwood, California. Their first game was Future Cop LAPD for PC, Mac, and PlayStation 1. In 2008, they released the first Dead Space and then changed their name to Visceral in 2009, and then went on to release 3 more Dead Space titles, DLC for The Sims 3, and Battlefield Hardline in the following years. At E3 earlier this year, it was announced that they would be working on a new Star Wars game along with the one that DICE is releasing later this year, and another one that BioWare is working on. This project will now be handed over to to EA Vancouver for completion. I think the worst part about how EA is handling this is the statement they released earlier today mentions Visceral exactly twice and does not highlight any of their games or achievements. It just briefly mentions that the studio will be ramping down and closing. I am a huge fan of Mr. Jim fucking Sterling's son, and about 2.5 years ago, he had expressed concerns about EA shutting down Visceral if Battlefield Hardline did not do well. And up until today, I personally thought that they were fine because they were handed this new Star Wars project. Boy, was I ever fucking wrong. I would heed Mr. Sterling's warning too, that if your company signs with EA, it's a fucking death warrant. BioWare is next, and if they aren't, it's only a matter of time. Are you a fan of Visceral? Which game of theirs was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section down below. It's only a matter of time before these release. It's tomorrow's game releases. For PC, King Exit, The St. Christopher School Lockdown, Urban Rivals, War Banners, Skipper, Freaky Awesome, A Mortician's Tale, BAFL, Breaks Are for Losers, Invisibox, Clay Book, The Gallery, Episode 2, Heart of the Emberstone, Relic, Tiny Toy Fair, Rex, Another Island, Bitstorm VR, First Loop, Icebox Speedgunner, Obscure Realm, JU, and Mirror. For Nintendo Switch, Purdy Pals. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been News Cartridge. I am Dandruff. I will see you tomorrow. And I had to break up with my seismologist girlfriend. Yeah, she kept pointing out all my faults. So I almost nailed the game releases first try. I had practiced it literally once, then ran through it, and I got through it fine. I was just fine. Then I got to the joke, and I forgot the joke completely, so I had to redo it. So I usually like it when I can get the game releases done in one go. I feel better about myself, because that's honestly the hardest part of the show, because before it was do all the things, when I got to the game releases, it was actually a lot easier, because I could just read from the thing, and nobody cares if I'm reading the game releases directly from the thing. But before the way I used to do the show was do the whole story in one big long take, and because the format of the show has changed, that doesn't really work anymore. It could still work the way that I do the cut stuff, the jump cuts, but it really could work that way. But this is just a much better format. People get more stuff. The show appeals to more people with the way that it is now, so I like it better. Congratulations again to God of Knockers. God of Knockers, if you didn't see the beginning, please, I hope you're seeing this. God of Knockers, you get Borderlands 2 along with the DLCs that I got. Next week, we're going to be giving away another game. There shouldn't be any more games given away for later this week, so I don't know. I should make it like, hey, if I give away a game on Monday, there's a possibility I give one away later, but I'm not going to make any promises on that. I'm only going to give away one game a week, okay? Because if I do it, and then everybody's like, you said you might give away more than one. I'm like, yeah, might. But people expect that I would. So, God of Knockers, please send me, check your messages on YouTube. If it doesn't work, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. You're not getting a consolation prize. I don't have to do this anyway, so yay! Just give it to a friend, give it to somebody else you know, just be like, hey, I've got a Borderlands 2 code and some DLCs. Or if you have Borderlands 2 and you just want the DLCs, give the main game code away to somebody else. I don't care what you do with it. I honestly don't care if you put it on a third-party website, but please don't do that. Try not to do that. That's not good. But if you do, it doesn't affect me. Please don't do it. So let's see, where else are we today? EA. So, I have a problem with EA, and I've had a problem with EA for quite some time. EA is one of the big fucking reasons this show exists. The EA and the bullshit that they have pulled time in, time out, year after year after year. They are one of the fucking reasons why this show exists, because I wanted to call them out on their bullshit. And for a long time, they were doing well. They were doing a lot better. I really feel like they were doing good. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is some parts of it are good, some parts of it are bad. Obviously, they said they're going to be changing the way the progression system works from the beta, and they did the progression system the way they did for the beta because it was the beta. That kind of makes sense. Okay, I'll give them that. That kind of makes sense, but they said they wouldn't be doing what they did with the first one. They're going to be putting a full campaign in. They're not going to be DLCing everybody to death. All the DLC will be free. Sims 4, while it did have a lot of things missing at launch, or a lot of things that weren't in The Sims 3 at launch, they've built up the game to be bigger and better than The Sims 3. So yeah, Sims 4, success. Battlefield 2, success. Battlefield 1, another success. Great game. They didn't nickel and dime. I don't think they nickel and dime people very much. My nose is starting to itch, by the way. They didn't nickel and dime people very much. But it still was a good game. They put out a really good game. I remember playing the beta last year. It was fucking great. So I felt as though they were starting to listen to their community, and then they shut down Visceral. They closed Maxis, which is one of the companies, I will never forgive them for absorbing and shutting down Maxis. SimCity 2000 was one of the first computer games I have ever played in my school when I was in first grade. When we got, it may have not been first grade, it may have been second grade. My school had gotten a bunch of those Power Macs from back in the early 90s, and they couple of the games that were installed on it were SimAnt, SimCity 2000, Oregon Trail, couple of stuff like that. Not all of them had SimAnt, but all of them had SimCity 2000, because it was an educational-ish game. It was a game that you could put up and there's no violence in SimCity 2000. There's an alien who came down and turned the ground to water, but that's not violence. Maxis meant a lot to me, and EA shut him down. And Visceral meant a lot to a lot of people. I can guarantee it. Dead Space is a huge series, despite only selling 4 million copies. Dead Space I know is a great series. I never played it, but I know a lot of people liked it. I know Battlefield Hardline didn't go over very well, but they were also given a game. They were given a Battlefield game when they were traditionally making more like a BioShock-inspired type third-person, creepy horror game. Give them stuff like Dead Space. Give them stuff with narrative. Give them stuff with story. That's what they're better at, not Battlefield Hardline. I know Battlefield Hardline had a story behind it, but you're gonna play that game for the multiplayer. Oh, Visceral. Goodbye, Visceral. Fuck you, EA. Social media links are over here, everybody. It's kind of a sad day. EA is going to do this to BioWare, everybody. They're going to do it to BioWare. They did it to Origin. They did it to Maxis. They did it to countless other frickin' studios. Social media links are over here, everybody. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. We're on YouTube. Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. Patreon because you love me, of course. And I love you. Click over here to subscribe to my channel. Click over here to watch yesterday's episode where we talked about the UK government being petitioned over loot boxes. That's a really good episode. Go check it out. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. Bye.